Hi guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. This time it's looking at something that happened on the DMZ, the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea, regarding a popular tree. Not popular as in famous, popular as in type of tree. I'm sure you've already guessed that already. Yeah, I mean, it was also known as Operation Paul Bunnion. I reckon they should call it Operation Overkill. But, as you'll see later on, you'll know why. But just kind of ridiculous incident that happened over a tree. So, yeah, let's get into this. Before we start, if you could please hit the like and subscribe button down the bottom. Really does help, and it will let more people see my videos, and it will allow me to do more videos in the future. So without further hindrance, let's get going.
There's an age-old joke about how many people it takes to change a light bulb.
That's typical councils over here. One person job, they send 6.
This could be said about the US and South Korean army and cutting down of a tree. However, there's more to the story, and if I said otherwise it would sound a bit harsh. The amount of people that it took to cut down this poplar tree in the JSA area of the DMZ is quite unbelievable. The fact that the tree is in the DMZ is the important part of the story though.
Yeah. Like I said, it's just a massive overreaction by the North Koreans, and then a massive overkill by the Americans.
The DMZ is, for the uninitiated, the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea, and the JSA.
There's also one in Cyprus called the Blue Line, or Green Line, I can't remember now. That separates the Turkish part of Cyprus and the Greek part of Cyprus after a war back in the 80s sometime.
It is served by both UNC forces as well as North Korean forces.
Same as the line in Cyprus, that's controlled by UN. There's in that one of these a buffer zone between the two.
JSA stands for Joint Security Area, and it is one of the most guarded and watched pieces of land on the planet. The tree was located.
They literally have a distance over, I don't know, about 30 feet, and they just have soldiers standing either side of it, just looking at each other. You know, I can understand it from South Korean side because they don't want North Korea invading them. South Korea, I don't think would try, knowing how insane Kim Jong-un is, or ill, whatever his name is at the moment. Probably better. Then they know it's just best to leave them alone. But this is North Korea speaking, so God knows.
Located by the lovely named Bridge of No Return. The area near the bridge had been notorious for North Korean soldiers attacking and attempting to kidnap UNC personnel.
How would they expect to get away with that? Kidnapping mainly American UN personnel when they're being constantly watched. How do they think that's going to end well for them?
Because of this, the tree was ordered to be trimmed to help improve the line of sight between Checkpoint 03 and Outpost 05.
If you can see the blue dot, that's where the tree is. You've got the Bridge of No Return to its left, which a lot of North Korean defectors run across to get into South Korea. You also, on the far right hand side, this footbridge here, that's also used to get across. People have actually driven their cars across to get it from this. That's why they call it Freedom Bridge, all the cars drive across that way trying to get in to South Korea. Bizarrely, there have been people that have gone the other way, gone into North Korea to defect. Not quite sure they knew what they were doing or what they expected to find on the other side. Yeah. So, yeah, it's the bridge of no return. And they were just trying to clear the line of sight from these two posts. Okay? They weren't going to cut the whole tree down. They were just going to trim the branches so they could see. That's all they were going to do.
On the 18th of August 1976, a team of 5 Korean Service Corps and UNC security team consisting of Captain Arthur Boniface, his South Korean counterpart Captain Kim, the platoon leader of the current platoon in the area, First Lieutenant Mark Barrett, and 11 enlisted personnel set out to prune the tree. Due to the...
Captain Kim. Sounds like a Japanese or Korean superhero cartoon. That's a cool name. Captain Kim.
rules of the JSA, only 5 armed officers and 30 armed enlisted personnel were allowed in the area at one time. Because of this, Captain Boniface and Captain Kim didn't take their...
Yeah, the guys from Trimming Tree had sidearms. That's all they had the sidearms. That was only the UN guys that were cutting the tree down. They didn't have anything. I think they had a club. That was it. Which is why I say what the North Koreans did for this is just
sidearms with them. Around 15 North Korean soldiers arrived and watched the trimming for around 15 minutes before Lieutenant Pak Chul abruptly told them to stop cutting the tree, citing that Kim Il-sung had personally planted the tree himself. Captain Boniface told...
Yes, that's the apparent history of all the trees planted in Korea were planted by the Kim dynasty on the third day of creation, because apparently he created the world.
Told his team to carry on with the cutting. This unsurprisingly raised tensions between the two parties, especially in a place where even a wrong look could start World War III. Pak sent a runner across the bridge of no return, and within minutes approximately 20 North Koreans...
The reason they did this is the same reason you don't turn your back on the Queen or the royal family. Considered massively bad manners. It's like in Japan, I think it's Japan showing the soles of your feet. It's also apocalyptically rude. This is where things start going stupid.
Soldiers turned up, armed with crowbars and clubs. The demands to stop cutting the tree continued until Boniface turned his back upon Pak. Tensions...
There you go. You see, that's the American guys cutting the tree down, South Korean force, and the North Korean wombles, who just, I don't know, felt like they were bored and doing something because they felt they had the right.
Boiled over, and Pak told his soldiers to kill the bastards. Using axes
No, it was the North Koreans that started it. Okay, the American guys were ignoring them. Okay, no, it was him, the North Korean guy, that told his soldiers to attack, to kill him. Okay, note that. Remember that.
Near the tree, the North Korean soldiers attacked Boniface and Barrett. Boniface was knocked to the ground and was bludgeoned to death by at least 5 soldiers.
What do they expect is going to happen now that they've killed an American soldier in a demilitarized zone? Which is, there is no weapons. The weapons that they can have in there are massively controlled. Hence why the South African guys have only got sidearms, and the American guys didn't have anything. But as their military police, I think they have a baton like cops do now, the extendable ones. But they just had a wooden one.
Barrett managed to escape and took cover in a ditch across the road from the tree. The UNC guards at Outpost 5 couldn't see where Barrett had hidden. The whole event took place in less than a minute.
less than 1 minute. How savagely were they beating the other guy if they killed him in a minute? And the other guy, the Americans knew he was out there, just had absolutely no idea where he was. So, you know.
Until UNC forces managed to break up the North Korean soldiers and place Boniface's body in the back of a truck. Outpost 5 noted that the North Korean soldiers were acting strangely around KP8, which was
North Korean soldiers acting strangely? Who would have thought?
right next to the area where Barrett had hidden in. After 90 minutes, Barrett was reported missing and Outpost 5 reported the strange behaviour of the North Korean soldiers. At this point, a search party was sent out to the location and Barrett was discovered badly injured. He was rushed to hospital but unfortunately died en route. As you can see, there are a lot of...
And there you go. Got Barrett guy over here. He's the one that ran over and hid over that side over there. See the body of the guy that got fucking beaten the crap out of. And then you got the South Korean guy taking on 7 North Koreans. Yeah, guy had no chance.
photos taken during the incident, as almost everything in the JSA is filmed and taken note of. True to form, North Korea released a press release very...
Remember what it said? The North Korean guy said, kill the bastards. Then they started it.
Soon after the incident. Around 10:45 AM today, the American imperialist aggressors sent 14 hoodlums with axes into the joint security area to cut the trees on their own accord, although such work should be mutually consented before...
I'll give them that. It should have been... They should have said something. I'll give them that. But that's it.
beforehand. 4 persons from
No, it says 4 persons, not 14.
our side went to the spot to warn them not to continue the work without our consent. Against our persuasion, they attacked our guards en masse and committed a serious provocative act of beating our men.
North Koreans doing what they do best. Lying out of their arseholes. The incident was filmed. It was filmed of them attacking the JSA and the UN American guys. And they think this is going to convince people that they did nothing wrong. But unfortunately for them, we use cameras. We're now able to have them. But just the fact that they think they can just put out this bullshit and people are going to believe it. When
wielding murderous weapons, and depending on the fact that they outnumbered us, our guards could not but resort to self-defense measures under the circumstances of this reckless provocation. The US government's advice from the CIA was that the attack was premeditated, and the US forces...
I reckon they were just waiting for a reason to kick this off. What you're looking at now, this is I think only the Americans use DEFCON. It's the defence readiness condition, and 5 is the lowest, 1 is the highest. If it's 5, no one's watching anything, everything's fine. 1, find a nuclear shelter quickly, because that's what's going to happen. And then you have the terms used for each condition, and then the description, and then readiness, and then you got the colour that's showing up on all the bases. They just put we do them over here. We have black, red, white. So we use the colour system. We don't use the DEFCON things. We use the colours.
Were put onto DEFCON 3. The South Korean president, Park Chung-hee, refused to sanction a military reaction. Now this leads us to probably one of the most heavily armed acts of tree surgery in history.
And this is where Operation Overkill comes into force. Or Paul Bunnion, as they named it. I can see why I did that. It's quite clever. But I call it Operation Bunnion, Paul Bunnion / Overkill. You'll see why. This is where things start getting stupid.
History. On the 21st of August, Operation Paul Bunnion was put into effect. The operation had been planned for 2 days in the White House as a show of US and Korean force, but done so in a way to reduce the risk of escalation. At 7 AM, a convoy of 23 vehicles entered the JSA without...
See, originally they weren't going to cut the tree down. They were just trimming the branches off it. The tree was being left. But after what happened, they thought, sod you, we're cutting the entire fucking tree down now. And yeah, I say this is where things start getting a bit stupid.
Pre-notifying the North Korean government. 2 30-man strong platoons were used as security for the operation, and 2 8-man teams were used for the actual cutting of the tree, armed with chainsaws. You might say that is a big display of force in its own right, but it does get better. A further 64 South Korean trained Taekwondo special forces were used, and several of the special forces had claymore mines attached to their chests, and an M728 combat vehicle had its main gun aimed at the bridge of no return because, well, why the hell not?
This is where it starts getting good.
In addition to the ground forces, 20 utility helicopters were circling the area, as well as 7 Cobra attack helicopters. Not enough? Well, don't worry, there's a little bit more to come. Several B-52 bombers, some reportedly nuclear ready, as well as air fighting escorts were also in the air nearby. Oh, and USS Midway was ready offshore just in case that wasn't enough. And as a final measure of fun, around 13,000 troops were ordered from Okinawa, and the rest of UNC forces in South Korea were put on high alert. After the massive show of force got into position, the Army engineers got about to the task at hand, which, in case you had forgotten, is to cut down a tree. Quickly, nearly 200 North Korean soldiers showed up and set up machine gun emplacements aimed at the South Korean and US forces. Upon seeing the North Korean show of force, Lieutenant Colonel Vera called the air support to come over the horizon.
I would have loved to have seen their faces when they saw this fucking shit appearing over the hill.
A dozen C-130s were placed on standby as support in Yokota Air Base. The total tree felling took 42 minutes, leaving a 6-foot stump, and did not result in a massive shootout, which is actually...
Funny that. North Koreans decided to not shoot. Wonder why.
Really surprising. Although the operation concluded without any shots being fired at the JSA, tensions did rise over the DMZ, and a number of shots were fired at helicopters along the border.
North Koreans and the South Koreans, they're not totally blameless in this. They like taking sort of the occasional pot shots at each other on the guard posts on the wall, around the walls. Yeah.
The UNC demanded that an apology was given from North Korea, but only a lackluster statement was released. It read, "It was a good thing that no big incident occurred at Panmunjom."
Yeah. It's a good thing that no big incident. Yeah, because you would have got your fucking asses kicked.
For a long period. However, it is regretful that an incident occurred at the joint security area this time. An effort must be made so that such serious incidents
don't come around trying to kill South Korean soldiers and UN.
May not occur in the future. For this purpose, but
hold on. Prevent the provocation. Which side told their soldiers to kill the others? Or kill the bastards, as he said?
Both sides should make efforts. We urge your side to prevent the provocation. Our side will...
Oh God, the lying bastards. We'll never provoke first. Right. How about all the nuclear weapon testing they fire over towards Japan? That's not provoking. The massive amount of soldiers, anytime they think South Korea's getting weak, they line up against the DMZ walls to invade. Oh, God's sake. Self-defense. Yeah, just talking out their arse.
Never provoke first, but take self-defense measures only when provocation occurs. This is our consistent stand. This was seen as a step in the right direction from North Korea, as at least some responsibility was omitted. Well, kind of. The stump of the tree remained until 1987 when it was replaced with a stone monument to the two men who died, setting off this rather bizarre set of events. Improvements were made to the JSA to help reduce...
So these two buildings, who are they trying to kid? You have these two huts just stand there looking at each other.
The risk of clashes between UNC personnel and North Korean soldiers, including the decommissioning of Checkpoint 3. Some of the wood from the tree...
So after all that, after going through all of this stuff, they decommissioned the post that was the reason they cut the tree down in the first place.
Tree was turned into a swagger stick. Wow. Well, kind of on a side note, I now do want a swagger stick. And as always...
Yeah. So, a huge tree like that, they made one swagger stick out of. And who is it? They say they don't like wasting stuff. Anyway, yeah. How all the North Koreans had the nerve and stupidity of saying that they were provoked first, when the North Korean captain told all his soldiers to kill the bastards, and apparently that's them being provocated. Yeah, so to get it, but you see why I say they should have called it Operation Overkill. Wonder how much taxpayers' money that all cost to set all that up, and then for nothing to happen. I mean, it's good that nothing happened, but imagine the amount of money that would have cost just to set that one little thing up. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. If you could please leave a like and subscribe, so more people actually get to see these videos. The reach gets spread more, and leave a comment down below to let me know if there's anything else you want me to cover. Don't know what it's about. Comedians, actions such as this, whatever. Leave me a comment down below, because I read all your comments, and yeah, and I appreciate every single one of them. So yeah, hope you enjoyed watching the video, guys. Really appreciate you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers, guys. Take care. Bye.